Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. This is also going to go up as an episode of It's Always Personal. I was sitting here a while ago. I didn't know what to do for an episode today. Um, and this fell into my lap. And I'm just going to share some thoughts on it. And we can have the discussion. And hopefully it can be a respectful conversation and we can talk about facts and we can run with some of our feelings and our reactions to new information. It's a lot of conversation right now since Caitlin Clark is going into the WNBA. Now there's a lot of there's this new focus on the salaries for WNBA rookies that nobody cared about 2 weeks ago. But now we got to fix it. We didn't even know it was a problem. But now we have to fix it. And we have to make it uh commensurate with the men what they get paid when it's a totally different set of economics over there. And people who don't know the backgrounds of anything for the last 10, 15, 20 years, now you just want to come in with this expectation that it be fixed. And it's like, where are we in this country with doing anything? Literally, with doing anything. I want to say I'm kind of open it up to this. I'm gonna get into this Ice Cube article. I was on Instagram earlier, and it's this post from Ice Cube. Like, if you want to know what the problem is from the with the with the NBA, his battle with his BIG3 league and the NBA, and then being spurned by Caitlin Clark with not taking his $5 million proposal or offer for 10 games. And then just getting into all this other stuff. When it's a free market. Like, Caitlin Clark was not obligated to take your money just because you threw it in her face and it was good money. She wasn't obligated to take it and make you and put you in position, for the growth that you're looking for and the appeal that you're looking for, and to advance your business, goals, or whatever aspirations with the BIG3. And something just happened recently in the world of sports. Well, I don't know if boxing is in the world of sports anymore. Niche sports. But I just saw something happen in boxing that is somewhat disgusting to me and just indicative of where we are in the world today. And the fact that we just don't really care about rules, laws, order, rightness, fairness. And we kind of want to scoff at everything traditional. Again, it's just new people come along to situations and just want to do things the way that they want to do it simply because it's how they feel. This is markedly different from Kurt Flood back in the day, Eric Dickerson in the NFL. I think he got in trouble with some of his, even Michael Jordan bucked the system when he started making the NBA pay him what he was really owed, what he was really due. And you should be able to see the differences in the examples that I'm talking about. But this past weekend, yeah, April 20th, the boxing world just watched Ryan Garcia do some weird stuff. And at the end of the weekend, he was able to tell the world to kiss his ass. And I'm trying to keep the boxing detail out of it for the people that don't know anything about boxing, but he unfairly and went into a situation and kind of flouted the rules and the unwritten rules of boxing to give himself an advantage to beat a fighter in a dishonorable way. It's no other way to look at it. But we have the idiot boxing fans out there that can't even they don't even recognize morals and ethics or business principles or anything. A large number. But so give you some quick background on it. Ryan Garcia, 2 fights ago, he's a big name in boxing. One of the younger fighters with a significant following. He's a 15-time, I think, amateur national champion or something, and had a solid start to his career. And it was simply boxing. His popularity came into play and factors into his marketability and his promotion and whatnot. So anyway, we get to last year and they want to capitalize on everything, quote unquote, Ryan Garcia. So they go to make the biggest fight possible for Ryan Garcia, which was against Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis is a bit of a unique situation because he's a small in stature, just short guy. And there are weight divisions in boxing. And based on your body type, you just might not be able to be in a weight division that's good for your height. You might have to fight bigger, taller, rangier guys, longer guys with more length, because you as the shorter person, you just can't stay at a certain weight division. And so you start having disadvantages in these matchups against fighters. So anyway, they wanted to make this big fight that was a success financially. 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, reportedly. Nobody else doing pay-per-views is really getting over. The low end is 300,000, 350,000 purchases. You get Canelo involved, Canelo Alvarez, he might still be able to do 550, 600, maybe even 700,000. But it's just like going platinum in the R&B business nowadays. Nobody goes more, especially with the rappers. It's very difficult to go multi-platinum. We do have some guys going platinum, but 5, 6, 7, 8 million copies sold, diamonds, 10 million. That's not happening nowadays. But anyway, they go to make this fight between Gervonta Davis, the shorter fighter, shorter arms, but still kind of stocky and still weighs, 135 or 140, somewhere around there. Ryan Garcia is 3 to 5 inches taller. But they want to make this fight because they can make a lot of money. It can do good business. Ryan Garcia made concessions. He agreed to certain stipulations in the contract to limit his weight that he would step into the ring on fight night. He agreed to all of these things, signed his name on the dotted line, did the 3-month promotion and the 10-week, 8-week training camp, all of that, had plenty of time to prepare to make the weight that they agreed to fight at. We knew when it was the boxing people, the diehard fans knew that when Ryan Garcia agreed to it, he was making significant concessions to take a run at a fighter that he'd been calling out for a while, and to, in some regards, to deliver the fight to boxing fans that people had been clamoring to see. So he was bold and boastful, kind of defied the planning for his promoter and his business team, who probably would have wanted to go another route. But he was willing to make it happen because he thought he could beat Gervonta Davis, is what he told us. He said he only needed 2 rounds. They get to the fight, and Gervonta knocks Ryan Garcia down in the second round, and then the fight is stopped in the seventh round after Ryan Garcia could not get up from a body shot. You can say, but boxing fans, you can say whatever narrative you want to say about how it went down. Spies in the camp. Ryan Garcia had a rib injury that wasn't disclosed. Whatever. I'm trying to keep it straightforward for non-boxing people or casual boxing fans. Ryan Garcia did not finish the fight. So after the fight, he comes back and says, "Well, I really wasn't myself." I listened to a bunch of interviews where he said, "Man, that weight details and those stipulations and those clauses, those terms doesn't mean nothing. I only need 2 rounds for this little guy." That's what he said out of his mouth repeatedly. But after the fight, they screwed me. They got over on me. We all saw this, Ryan. But thank you for making the fight. That's the cold game of boxing. Okay. So then Ryan Garcia, like I said, he agreed to the circumstances or the terms of that fight. He went in there, and I don't remember the details, honestly, because the shit is so confusing at this point. They just don't even care about weight classes anymore. So I don't remember if it was 143, 145, or he couldn't weigh more than 145 the morning of the fight. Whatever. Okay, so he comes into this fight this past weekend against Devin Haney. It was for Devin Haney's 140-pound WBC junior welterweight championship. You have to, in order to fight for the title, the world title, which Ryan Garcia, through this point in his career, has never been a world champion. And maybe his popularity allows him to operate in a manner where belts are irrelevant for him. He might be one of the few guys 25 and under who can move that way. Credit to him. But when the fight was announced, it was Devin Haney against Ryan Garcia for the 140-pound championship. That's the facts. We come into fight week, Ryan Garcia is looking like he's not going to make the 140-pound max limit. I'm sparing you all the other weird stuff that happened, but we clearly see, those that know what you're looking at, that knew what you were looking at. This dude looks big. He's out at clubs partying during fight week in New York City. By Wednesday or Thursday, I'm like, it doesn't look like he has any intention to make weight. Scratching my head like, what's going on here? Friday morning comes and he's 143.2 pounds. He's 3.2 pounds over the 140-pound limit. He had already said the day before, he had made some bet, $500,000. He agreed to the bet, $500,000 per pound would be, he would pay it to Devin Haney if he couldn't make weight. This was the first giveaway. This was the telltale that this is some bullshit. This is setup. But Devin Haney can't walk away from the fight. He's not going to disappoint the promoter, the zone, and the fans, whoever did buy tickets, the people who intend to buy the pay-per-view. And he's thinking, I can beat this dude with one hand behind my back and whatever. He's basic. He's limited. Give me the $1.5 million for the 3.2 pounds. And we'll move forward with the fight. I'm going to bust your ass tomorrow night in the fight. Whatever. We get to the fight Saturday night where Ryan Garcia was a huge underdog. He drops Devin Haney, the big favorite. He rocks him in the first round. And then drops him in the 7th, 10th, and 11th rounds, I believe. And ultimately, Ryan Garcia wins the fight. Devin is very bruised in the face, very beaten up. You can see all the highlights out there. He's dropped at least once or twice with single punches. The other one might have been a flurry or whatever, but it was all from the left hook of Ryan Garcia. Now, interestingly here, Garcia didn't fight 3 minutes of every round as a 25-year-old young man. So it's not like his cardio was all that great, his fitness was all that great. And you start to understand the guile that was used in setting up Devin Haney and his father. And it's even audio out there now at this point, a few days after the fight. Maybe even in the ring, he says something like, I had to do what I had to do, as he's hugging this man who he just did dirty. And then he's gone on other platforms and just straight up said, like, man, I was there to win the fight by any means necessary. So I say all that to say, Devin Haney did not agree. He did not force Ryan Garcia to make any negative or impactful or bad concessions going into their fight. It was, we're meeting at 140 pounds for the purses that we've negotiated, and then this WBC 140-pound championship. Shake hands on it, sign, all above board. Ryan Garcia, in his own mind, because he was left embarrassed, humiliated, and looked like he was played publicly for what he agreed to, what he set in motion in trying to fight Gervonta Davis. That was all on him. But he turns around here now as one of today's young people, and how and an influencer and whatever status he has. I'm gonna go out here and ignore, I'm gonna throw all the rules and customs, traditions, laws, morals, ethics. I'm gonna throw all that out the window, and I'm gonna go out here and prove my point, because by and large, the people that support me, they don't care about the details. They don't care about wrong and right. And you can see it in the arguments and the conjecture and the back and forth from boxing fans the last 72 hours. You can see what a shit show it is. Cool. Now let me get over here. You like, hey Wood, man, well, you're 20 minutes into this thing. You ain't said nothing about Ice Cube in it. What I'm saying about the Big Three and Ice Cube is they're sitting here trying to do the same thing as Ryan Garcia. Ice Cube, I didn't even know about this co-owner, dude. This is my first time hearing about him. This Jeff Quantinets. My first time hearing about a co-owner. All I heard was black owned and Cube, Big Three. I ain't know about this white cat. But no, wait, that's neither here nor there. But Cube would like to circumvent the years that it takes to build most successful businesses. Cheat code is something that we like to throw around the last 4 or 5 years or whatever. Or a hack. So a couple of weeks ago, in order to propel the Big Three to where Cube and his partner Quadinets may want to take the Big Three, after being on TV for the last 3 or 4 years or whatever, and now, they have a broadcast deal with CBS Sports where the games are shown, and it's growing, it's doing something. But Cube was like, let me make a move to push things along. So last month, during the women's March Madness, women's basketball, we find out, that Cube has made this $5 million offer that basically equates to 10 games for Caitlin Clark for $5 million. I'm learning in this article I'm getting ready to get into that it was a 2-year deal, I guess. So it was a total of $10 million. Now we could argue about whether or not Cube leaked that, Quadnets leaked that, third party leaked that, Cube's business partner leaked that, some Johnny on the spot reporter out here found out about it. I mean, Caitlin Clark said she didn't even know nothing about it. So whatever. It became a thing. And we may have come out on however we saw it. Do it, don't do it. Caitlin, do it, don't do it. Take the money, get the bag, secure the bag, black owned, black, whatever. Women can play with men, men can play against women, mix it all together, don't do it. Whatever, all this stuff. Wherever you stood on it. At the end of the day, Caitlin Clark declined to move in that direction, and she's chosen to take a more traditional route, or kind of like the natural route, or what many would have just thought would have been the normal thing to do. Go be a professional women's basketball player with the WNBA. Okay, well, now we got to get to the next argument. What the hell is this about WNBA players only getting $76,000 a year on their rookie deals? I mean, it stands to reason. Do you know what Asia Wilson and the other the veterans, do you know what, did you not hear that they've been complaining the last couple of years about them getting a fraction of what their male counterparts make? So what did you think that the rookies were going to be making? When we know that the NFL switched it several years ago now, that their rookies don't make as much. The NBA itself got tired of getting left holding the bag with paying for one and done guys or high schoolers that came into the league and got big money. And they said, we got to do something. They changed it so that you come in for lesser money. But now, just because Caitlin Clark comes along and brings all of this attention to women's basketball, and now she's going to the next level, what the hell is this that said, like, so everybody's in the uproar over that now. And now we can also bring in, well, you need to be taking that offer that Cube put out there and proposed to you. Some of the WNBA, the current WNBA players, they're sitting here applauding. Come on, girl. We waiting for you with open arms. All this attention and buzz and WNBA trending, and people care about the drafts, and people care about where teams are going. People cared about who the top 10 picks were. It was discussions on that. Angel Reese should have went first over Caitlin. She should be top 3. Like, we hadn't even heard these discussions. We hadn't even heard these discussions before. So the WNBA, what do we see? Like, nearly all of Caitlin Clark's games are going to be televised in the forthcoming season. Some team, I saw it a couple of weeks ago, some team announced their game won't be played in their normal facility. They're going to move it to either the NBA team's arena or a bigger arena to meet the demands of the amount of tickets that they believe they can sell. These are like real business moves. It totally makes sense. Whatever, do it. You should do it. The same way that Iowa chose to hold the game inside of the football stadium. They held a women's basketball game while Caitlin Clark was at Iowa. They held a game. Like, I can't remember who they played, but they held a game in the football stadium, which seats 70 or to 80,000 people, instead of playing in the gym that seats like 12,000 people. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. It's nothing like unnatural or forced, artificial. It's nothing artificial about it. It's what the WNBA should be doing. And maybe they'll even have double headers around Caitlin Clark, where while people are watching the Caitlin Clark game, they have another known name that they have, or the another good team, the Las Vegas Aces or whatever name, whatever. You know, it was no different when Michael Jordan was in the league and became a thing, and when you would try to go to Indiana, well, just speaking locally, you go to a Pacers game, you couldn't just buy tickets to the Chicago Bulls. You had to buy tickets to either 4 other games or something. Try to go to the Pistons game against Chicago Bulls. Nah, you got to buy 2 or 3 more tickets to 2 or 3 more games. Franchises have been, and business people owners have been making moves when they know the appeal is there and they can capitalize on it. That's what you do. But you don't just sit there, and the Pistons didn't just bring in and say, hey, for this game against the Bulls, we're going to suit up Barry Sanders. He's going to be our shooting guard that game, Barry Sanders. Hell, Calvin Johnson, we're going to have him as small forward that night, and Justin Verlander is going to be the 6th man. They just start mashing up all this weird shit to sell the tickets. They did it within like the auspices of what they had to work with. What we can do is require we can increase the prices for the Chicago game, and then you have to buy tickets to 1 or 2 more, or we sell them as packages or something. I can understand it. I can go along with that. I can respect that. But here for Cube to sit here and say, well, I'm going to pay her $5 million to come over here for 10 games because I got it, or the sponsors are willing. However, whoever made it happen or made it possible for him to have it, he has it. Okay. I don't know if we all really want to watch Caitlin play against former NBA players, though. That wasn't really, I wasn't sitting here as she was going through the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 and the Final Four. I was not sitting here, and not in the back of my mind, or at no point in time did I say I want to see Caitlin take on Joe Johnson or Ricky Davis or whoever else is over there. I was never thinking that. That's some shit that Ice Cube concocted. That was a play that he wanted to make. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't watch the Big Three. I tried a couple of times. It just wasn't for me. I don't watch the WNBA. I mean the NBA. I don't watch the NBA. I respect that Cube tried to do something. It's a free enterprise, free market system, or whatever. You can do what you want to do or propose what you want to do. But me as a consumer or the audience, or what, I don't have to like it. I don't have to support it and go along with it. And I can question it fundamentally if I choose to. Nah, man, I don't want to see Caitlin. I don't want to see 6-foot Caitlin Clark play against these 6'3" to 6'8" men. Their knees ain't that damn bad. So I was content, and the world seemed pretty normal, and things kind of made sense for me that Caitlin Clark was like, I'm gonna go over here to the WNBA where I should be, and then I'm going to show up and ball, hopefully, and we're gonna build this thing brick by brick, and over the next 3 to 5 years, depending on how things happen. Because Diana Taurasi, it's the clip out there of Diana, former WNBA player and women's basketball figure, and Hall of Famer or GOAT player, whatever you want to call Diana Taurasi. It's audio out there of her saying, look, All of us have been coming out of college, and we get to have our name. We're somebody for the 2 or 3 or even 4 years in some cases. We're somebody during our stint in women's college basketball. But once we went pro, the attention went away. The media coverage went away once we went pro. And she's like, I think we could be on the cusp of that changing. Caitlin Clark could have some staying power. She could keep people here for another year or two and expose some new eyes to women's basketball and what we've been trying to do. And I'm going to check out one of those 36 games that they may televise next year. I'm going to check one or two or a few of those out. I'm going to see what happens. And they've just naturally taken advantage of what's come along in Caitlin Clark for them to work with and see what happens. Trying to shove Caitlin Clark into this all men's league, that was artificial. That's artificial. Now, the WNBA players who've come over to the celebrity game for All-Star Weekend for the NBA, that's an exhibition game. It's good spirited. It's for the fans. Hell, you got Bad Bunny or whoever, Kevin Hart or whoever else the hot person of the moment, the hot celebrity of the moment is. They're running around out there. It works. But when you want me to tune in with the time that I give to sports, just like with the Ryan Garcia fiasco, you want me to pay $70 for this fight that's now marred by the fact that you did not make weight and it's no longer a championship fight. Only Devin can retain his belt in this situation. And I'm supposed to ignore that. Because I'm not being respected as a consumer. And the fact that I follow along and I respect the rules, I respect the game, I respect the customs, I respect the history, I respect the legacy. I'm buying in. I've bought into what these championships supposedly mean. But now you're going to tell me April 20th, 2024, man, it's really not all that important. Well, what have I been paying attention to your product for all of these years? Okay, so I wake up this morning and Cube has this very serious announcement on his Instagram page. Check out this link in the bio and go to this article and see why the NBA did me wrong and has been doing me wrong, and why the WNBA is now getting Caitlin Clark and I didn't. You never really had any like, you weren't entitled to get her. There was nothing in the mix that suggested she should be going to you or considering you. No different from Caleb Williams should never have been considering going to the CFL or the UFL. It was never on the table. But I'm like, what is Cube talking about? I ain't got nothing. I got 10 free minutes. Let me go look at what this is. So I go and click on the link in the bio. I'm taking to some other thing, and it takes me to this Outkick.com article. And I'm like, I know Outkick.com is not suggesting that a woman should be playing in an all men's league. I know that's not what's going on. Let me read. So, this very serious title: the entrenched pro basketball system fails Caitlin Clark and women athletes. The entrenched pro basketball system fails Caitlin Clark and women athletes by Jeff Quatinetz. Like I said, man, truth in this country, it's no longer. Truth has expired. In this world, and I can really speak for this country, now you can do whatever you want to do with belief. With belief. You can go out here with your narrative, and it's gonna be a group of people willing to believe what you're saying. That's all you need. Pro basketball encompasses professional women's basketball and professional men's basketball. And there is a pecking order with men's basketball being the one that has proven to be sustainable. But I'm like, man, let me check this out. So Quatinet says, legendary investor, I'm gonna try not to read all of this, but whatever. Legendary investor Bill Gurley once warned us that incumbents keep out gatekeepers. We're throwing around the gatekeeper word. That's a key word right now. Once warned us that incumbents keep out new, innovative, and disruptive competitors by gaming the system in their favor, in quotations, and gaming the system in their favor. It's an age-old story. Those with power often give lip service to change, yet shun genuine innovation that threatens. These are getting in the way. Shun genuine innovation that threatens their supremacy. The massive business of sports is no difference. Like this dude is sitting here criticizing sports, but he's chosen to go get involved in the sports industry. That's wild to me. And I think his background might be the business. I mean, the recording industry with music, but I may or may not get into that more in a second. The massive business of sports is no different. How many great, cool things have we all been deprived of because of resistance to change? In sports, how many great innovations have been snuffed out because behemoths in charge use their market power to crush anything new? People are deprived of new, fun, amazing things when innovation is killed, and we all suffer when competition is killed. This is coming off to me like once I got into this, I'm like, this is like an essay or an editorial. This ain't like straightforward news. And I didn't realize Quantinetz is the co-owner of the BIG3 that he's on here representing. Recently, we witnessed phenomenon. Caitlin Clark electrified not just fans of women's basketball, but seemingly captivate the attention and adoration of the entire American populace. Not Steven Jackson, but whatever. While making attendance and ratings history, Caitlin made lots of people lots of money and has just begun her journey. Social media posts from countless sports fans now decry the unfair state of women's basketball that only pays Caitlin $76,535 as a rookie and locks her in at under $100,000 for each of her first 4 seasons in the WNBA. While I agree, many women in the WNBA, including Caitlin, are pathetically undercompensated, I believe the blame is pointing in the wrong direction. Players, in parentheses, labor, and consumers are not a priority to sports' powerful incumbents when they exert their power. And consumers. I'm not sure y'all really give a damn about consumers, so as long as consumers are doing what they're expected to do, which is just pay their money or tune in. But anyway, worse, the biggest impediment to empowering female as well as male, black, and brown basket. It's no Europeans in the Luka Doncic is not in the NBA. And Getty and DiVincenzo, like, okay. This is very off-brand for Outkick.com. This is very off-brand. The biggest impediment to empowering female as well as male black and brown basketball players is the fact that white men, in all caps, we got to go after white men. You ain't saying nothing if you don't attack them, the colonizers that they are. That's a joke. That's, not my words necessarily. Is the fact that white men run basketball, while the NBA C-suite slickly bombards fans with quote-unquote woke catchphrases. Do these suits in charge really want change? There are no black or female owners of NBA teams, and NBA players might be well compensated, but that doesn't mean they still aren't looked at and treated as the quote-unquote hired help. And crucially, the NBA holds the reins over the WNBA, perpetuating this imbalance. What is this dude going on about? We're talking about, okay, it's no ownership. It may not be any owners. There are some black GMs of NBA teams. This ownership argument in sports is really a house of cards. It's really some bullshit. But we keep bringing it up just based on the makeup of the leagues, the NFL and the NBA. So we keep throwing this leadership, this ownership thing out there around. But do you have $8 billion or not? Are there 40, 50, 100, 150 brown or black people walking around with 10 billion or more in your pocket? Give me the list of people that fit in that category while we're talking about ownership. But we're talking about a league where damn near 40 players make over $30 million per season. I don't really see how the NBA is really doing brown and black men all that wrong. When it's 40 plus brown and black men making guaranteed on 4 or 5 year deals, guaranteed. Subtitle or subheading, which brings me back to Caitlin Clark. She not only represents an incredibly entertaining piece of business as an athlete playing for the BIG3. Here's where the bullshit started. I'm getting my boots on right now. I got to step back and put my boots on. She not only represents an incredibly entertaining piece of business as an athlete playing for the BIG3, but she would also provide our league, that's why I said our, and I went and looked into who he is. Provide our league a perfect engine for driving the breakdown of further stereotypes and promoting diversity by showcasing a female competing at a world-class level with men. Is the BIG3 really world-class? With you having former or retired players or guys who didn't really pan out. That's why we made an offer to Caitlin. On a personal level, we guaranteed Caitlin that Nancy Lieberman, the pioneering women's basketball great and 2-time Hall of Fame player, would be her coach. And financially, compared to her paltry WNBA salary, it was a all caps mega offer. $10 million of salary over 2 years, a percentage of team ownership worth millions, 50% of merchandising revenues from her name and likeness, and ownership of a BIG3 documentary with a 7-figure advance. In total, we're talking $15 million or more to merely play a 10-game season, while still allowing her to play in the WNBA. The absolute best of both worlds! Exclamation point. You have, just like Ryan Clark, I keep Ryan Clark. Just like Ryan Garcia had to make those concessions to make the Gervonta Davis fight, the BIG3 had to make all of these concessions because they're trying to land their well. You're trying to bring in someone that has no reason being over there on your platform, so you have to sweeten the pot with all of these different offers. But you're not going to your best male players, who I couldn't even name you one of them, but you're not going to them with this offer, with similar, let's give you some team ownership and this. You're not going to none of them. And let me also throw this in here at this point. Like, this is the equivalent for conflict of interest. I hate to bring up Honda Prelude, but the Prelude was an interesting and popular model, and it was a unique body style for an everyday vehicle for regular consumers. But it was a memorable car. You have the Trans Am, is an iconic model. Maybe even the Hummer, but this would be the equivalent of some new automotive company coming along. Maybe they're an electric car maker. And this would be the equivalent of the electric car maker going to Honda, GM, Pontiac, and then GM for the Hummer or whatever, and saying, hey, we want to use those names. We want to put out a new Prelude with our electric engine, and we want to use the Prelude name, and we want to update the body style a little bit, but it still be very but it still closely resemble the last time we saw the Trans Am, or the best years of the Trans Am, the best year of the Prelude, the Hummer. We want to take that and add some little updates, some subtle updates to it, put it on our engine, our electronic engine, and we want to sell the cars. And one by one, Honda, GM would be like, fuck out of here. What? No. No. So that's what, when you sitting here telling me you just gonna go, that like it was so easy for, and it was so logical. It was so natural that Caitlin Clark would play in our league. That's how they're throwing this out here. Like, how could she not take this? It doesn't make any sense for her to take it. And it doesn't matter if the salary is paltry. It's part of the process. This was you know what? If Bird and Magic would have came along today, somebody would have proposed that Bird and Magic start their own league. Like when they came along and the NBA playoff games or whatever were on tape delay or whatever it was, that was where the business was when they came into the picture. And then after 2 or 3 seasons of them doing what they did, continuing their collegiate rivalry over in the pros, which was remarkable that these two guys went to the Lakers and the Celtics. Remarkable. But what's going on with my stream? Look like my audio, I'm gonna continue with my audio, but my screen is frozen. Okay. So I gave you my car analogy. We could do it with other, like, I don't want to reach further, but anyway, I don't know what's going on with my stream. Maybe I'll shut this down if it doesn't unfreeze. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'll just put up maybe I'll just put this video up here as is. I'll shut this down and just continue on, close this out with the audio only. That means you have to come over to It's Always Personal and get to the 48-minute mark where you can hear the rest of the discussion. But yeah, it's still frozen. So, and that's long enough anyway, honestly. And I've made most of my points. Yeah, now it's just totally locked up. So I'm glad I was recording this for It's Always Personal Anyways, so let's keep it moving. For it's always personal. By playing in both leagues, her sponsorship potential would increase dramatically too. Kobe Bryant always believed that a female player would make it to the highest level to play. Just name dropping the late Kobe Bryant. Kobe, there's another thing. Like Kobe may have said that. What was the context of the what was the context for that statement? Where was it made? What platform? I'd like to know. Uh, Kobe Bryant always believed that a female player would make it to the highest level to play against men professionally. I honestly don't see that happening, but whatever. Oh, no dig at Kobe. Lieberman's own experience competing against men and the resultant surge in her marketability served as a precursor to what could have been for Caitlyn. What is Lieberman's? If I Google, well, if I was looking at a group of images, I couldn't point Lieberman out in April 24th, 2024. I couldn't point Lieberman. I know the name. I couldn't tell you nothing else about what's going on with Nancy Lieberman the last 5 to 10 years. Additionally, and then who the hell was either Herschel Walker or Warren Moon? Were they playing in both leagues, the CFL or the USFL and the NFL? Were they doing that? Did I miss that part of that situation? Additionally, a two-league arrangement would benefit from the Big Three's consistently growing domestic and international reach, further amplifying Caitlyn's market value, especially given the Big Three's higher television ratings and attendance, with regular season ratings actually higher than that of even the NHL and Major League Soccer. A two-league deal for Caitlyn would present the perfect solution to the very problem posted recently on X by President Biden. In quotations, women in sports continue to push new boundaries and inspire us all, but right now we're seeing that even if you're the best, women are not paid their fair share. That's just misleading. That's just misleading. It just is. I'm not saying that I can sit here and concretely say that the women aren't getting screwed over. The numbers aren't totally fair, but it's not like the WNBA could afford to triple or quadruple these salaries, and things would be impacted, or they just wouldn't shut down. That's just not true to me. And again, if we're dealing with very serious issues, we have to have serious conversations on how to fix them. There have to be serious conversations on how to improve them based on real things. Not just somebody, a certain figure, not just Kobe Bryant just saying a woman is going to play professionally someday. Nah, bro, we got to see that play out. We really have to see that play out. Okay, but alas, men run the business of basketball. Back to Quantinet's article. I don't know how to shut down my damn laptop here. Trying something. Um, let me try one other thing. Am I talking too much truth here or something? Like, what's going on? Okay. There we go.